Hi everybody, and welcome to the coverage of the feature race here at Deep Forest Raceway. This is the feature race of the penultimate week of racing here in Season 5 of the ALR GT Monday Tier 1 Championship. We just watched Sick Boy win the sprint race. We've got BR4 on the qualifying. He's on an outlap at the moment, just ahead of his rival Iggy. No, sorry, make my mistake. It is Iggy out on track first. It is BR4 currently languishing in third place on track, having let the second Z4 of Olive go ahead of him. So we'll join Iggy on board because he managed to secure the pole position. He's gone for hard tyres though. I wonder if we have a medium runner here in the standings who's willing to start the race on the mediums. We've got a soft running Mackies who's going to go for it. We'll have a try and check in with him. We've got a split strategy Sick Boy, soft to medium on his axles, got a medium RDO, and we've got a driver who has yet to come out of the pits. But let's run with Iggy for the battle for pole position here. Let's see what he can do on the hard tyres. Somewhat disadvantaged down into the first corner he goes, getting third gear, trying to get the car turned deeply into the apex and neatly doing so. A little bit of a correction on the way in, but all nice and smooth on the way out. Now we go left, we go right, we go left again into turn 4, and then turn 5 is nice and tight. It's banked corner, but it's very, very difficult. Under the tunnel then, cool the tyres under the tunnel, and into turn 6, another fairly continuous radius, almost hairpin. We go through turn 7, now 8 and 9, virtually flat out, feather the throttle through turn 9, and then down into the right angle turn 10, where many drivers run super wide out onto the grasscrete here on the outside, and now it's full throttle through the tunnel section. Just pick the line of least resistance, the straightest possible line, adjust anything you need to in the cockpit, and we go through. That's the penalty marker there under the tunnel, and now we head down towards the final hairpin, the tightest corner on the circuit, braking down at about 80 meters, maybe 75 meters on the hard tires there for Iggy. Misses the apex somewhat, but runs it nice and smoothly on the way out of the circuit. Avoid those bollards on the inside. That's a good guide for where to stick your wing mirror anyway. And then it's full throttle all the way to the line, up the hill through this Deep Forest Raceway to cross the line. It's going to be Iggy across the line first. Let's see what kind of a time he gets. It will of course be fastest. It's 1:27.2. Olive next up. Rubs the wall on the way in. That's less than ideal for Olive in the second Z4 now. Olive coming towards the line with BR4 right behind of Olive, 2-3 seconds off the time, but 1/10 of a second off the ultimate pace is BR4. Joe Royal on the hard tyres secures third place ahead of Olive. So does Pornishtown into fourth ahead of Olive. Blue Mosquito next across the line. He will cross the line into seventh now, again ahead of, but Mackies gets pole. Mackies on a 26.2 on the soft tyres, both axles on the soft tyres for Mackies. Remember, Sick Boy had the split axle soft front, medium rears. Second place, 3.5 tenths away. And we've got RDO in 11th. He also went for mediums, so a different strategy for RDO, and it looks like maybe we've got someone in the pits. It's El Trocker who is declining to qualify maybe here, but just to let you know then, as we select the camera for the race, this is RDO flat out to the line. The updated standings from RDO himself puts Iggy 20 points clear of second place BR4. Third place Sick Boy is only 7 points away from BR4 on 190, but 27 off the lead. So it is well within range now of Iggy to secure this one. Joe Royal is in fourth and Mackies in fifth place, 10 points between them. Joe Royal on 151. RDO only secured a sixth place on the medium tyres behind the hard shod Moosh. BR4 Iggy, but it's Mackies with the pole for our feature race, which is a rolling start. Then we've got Sick Boy in second place, of course, there in the Mercedes, showing strongly tonight. But it's going to be a difficult night's racing on the different strategy here. Soft tyres front and back on the BMW for Mackies. Softs on the front, mediums on the back for Sick Boy. He only has to choose mediums or hards to make sure that he satisfies the criteria of the racetrack. You just have to use two different compounds, regardless of axle. Here they go then, and it is a gentle foot to the floor, and away we go for Mackey's first from Sick Boy, and we're locked on this camera again. Tremendously frustrating here. Sick Boy trying to get down towards turn 1, but no way through, and they enter and exit turn 1 as they started. But there is some action here. It's Joe Royal versus RDO with a bit of a launch away from that rolling start. RDO right tucked up. He's got the inside line. He's trying to get ahead here of Joe, but Joe holds off at this early stage of the race. Paying a watching brief is Nobbles from Pornish Town and Blue Mosquito. I hate to get too excited, and I'm sorry about the onboard coverage now, but it's unavoidable thanks to the latest update here on the game. We'll have to find a way around this one. I had figured out a bit of a hack, but it's not worked anymore. It is that is your order, and it is Mackey's in charge from Sick Boy, who has got the toe now on Mackey's on the full throttle section down towards the hairpin. It is Sick Boy challenging here for the lead of the race. Down they go into the hairpin. Sick Boy very, very tentative into the final braking zone. Can't quite get the confidence to run the car wide, and Mackey's picks up that speed once again. Sick Boy is just a 1/10 and a half away from the lead here, trying to get a nice wide entry, get as much of a tow as possible as they draw alongside once again, surely, but Sick Boy nudges the back of the fairly erratically driving Mackey's. Will Sick Boy outbrake himself? Absolutely he will, and Mackey's retakes that first place. Very good driving from him, as Iggy on the hard tyres is quite happy to watch these guys shred their softs at this early stage. There goes Sick Boy picking up the dirt on the way in. Didn't quite work out for him, but Sick Boy runs wide, gets the fastest first sector on the racetrack, and we may just about have enough time to go and find a decent camera angle. Give me a second and I'll just get that for you. Let's try again. There we go. Now a decent camera angle, and I've got to set the screen up once again, so I do apologise. Let's see what happens then as Mackey's defends then from Sick Boy once again. I will just switch that there so you can see the team names as well. It is Mackey's leading Sick Boy from Iggy, a 1.5 seconds away from the first of the hard tyre shod cars. Iggy fighting with BR4, but Sick Boy sprinting off into the lead here at this early stage in the championship, trying to score points against Sick Boy, but it does tend to favour the drivers who can run the hards and the full tanks of fuel until they run dry, and then they can run light fuel, softer compound tyres, and it tends to really work out well for those drivers. If you can live with the pace at the start of the race, here comes BR4 right on the back of Iggy. This is a championship worthy battle going on. They've been back and forth between each other all season. Iggy with the shaded out better results so far in the season, but BR4 has absolutely had his moments in that beautifully liveried Ford Mustang Group 3 car. We've really enjoyed watching these drivers all season, and we come up, this is now the penultimate week of our season. It is Sick Boy then, 0.5 seconds still behind Mackey's. Can't really make any headway just yet, but he's waiting. I often wonder whether the drivers would be better using the harder compound. If they're going to split the axles, run the harder compound on the fronts, because it's the fronts that tend to take the most punishment here, but far be it for me to second guess their strategies. It is, as I say, Mackey's from Sick Boy. Wow, super late pulling out of the slipstream. Sick Boy gets ahead before the braking zone, gets the car almost to the apex, runs out wide, and takes the position then. Sick Boy into the hairpin at the end of lap 3, but has picked up a 0.5 second penalty on the car. That means Mackey's should presumably blast past him on the next way through the tunnel section. BR4 fighting with Iggy. Iggy trying to stay with the Mustang on the top speed. It is possible for the Viper. Will the Viper have a dive down the inside? No, not quite. BR4 quite confident of his positioning on the track, going for a super late apex on the car, just about staying ahead now. And Iggy and BR4 here on the hard tyres, some 3 seconds away from the lead pair, and it's Moosh in 5th place, following those two fairly well behind. Joe Royal stuck in 6th with a half-second penalty on the car. There's Nobles in 7th. Then we've got RDO in 8th. Closely chased by Pornishtown in 9th. Then comes Olive, who had a much poorer qualifying than I was expecting in the Z4. Then El Trocker in 11th. Blue Mosquito has managed to join us, which is great. We have a Mosquito on the track. Sick Boy pulling out the gap now, but remember that half-second gap. He's going to pay for that shortly on the way through this tunnel section here. That will murder his top speed. Does that bring Mackey's right into play? He just about had enough top speed there on the car, and Sick Boy holds on to P1 at the moment. He is on soft tyres front and back. Sorry, he's on soft tyres front, mediums are back, while Mackey's is on softs front and back. So Mackey's should presumably have worse rear tyre wear later on into this stint, but he's got a great run here. He's forced to the outside by Sick Boy. Pick your braking point and see if you can get it into the corner. Sick Boy does it successfully. Iggy gets past BR4 though, round the outside it seems, into turn 1. So Iggy getting the initiative here into P3, and the two Mustangs are line astern as well. Iggy needs to finish a fair dose of points ahead of his rivals here tonight to secure the championship, still with 2 races after this one yet to pay, a sprint and a feature in week 8 next week. There is still plenty to play for. Don't forget, hopefully we won't have the same PSN or YouTube errors that we've got tonight, and hopefully we will be able to be live for you on Tuesday the 8th of August at 8 PM UK for the final round of the championship. Mackey's still on the back of Sick Boy down into the hairpin. No way through, as BR4 leans on the brakes and leans on his light flash button as well on the way into the final hairpin. No way through. It's but the Mustangs running the strongest team in this race so far, as well as being on the hard tyres, running some really hot pace, 27s, 28s. And in fact, it could well be that Moosh attacking those tyres that little bit harder at the moment. Moosh is really burning through the fuel, really burning through the tyres, as well as BR4 runs wide, hits the barrier, and not for the first time this season, unfortunately. We've seen BR4 have his difficulties getting the car stopped into a big stop, a really heavy braking zone. BR4 with that heavy old Mustang struggling to get it down, rejoins the race in P9. Unfortunately for him, that could be massive for his championship hopes, as Pornishtown hassles the back of the sister Mercedes of Nobles. Well, Mustang were running very hot in that particular stage of the race, but now it's all on Moosh to keep Iggy honest. Let's see if Moosh can do the job for his teammate here, and for, of course, the Mustang, the Ford Championship hopes. Moosh and BR4 working together very well indeed this season, but it's just been made a lot more difficult by that error by BR4. I'm hoping it's an error and it wasn't any contact between drivers. Moosh hanging on. Mackey's has taken the lead though against Sick Boy. Mackey's is now 1.7 seconds ahead of Sick Boy. I'm tempted to suggest the speed at which that happened might have been an error from Sick Boy, unfortunately. Let's see, we've got a battle going on here. Pornishtown versus the sister Mercedes, as Mackey's tries to stretch his lead on Sick Boy at the front. BR4 not able to really breeze past these guys despite running at a better pace. The drivers are fairly evenly matched. The field spread very, very small, despite the fact that we are some near 10 minutes and 7 laps deep into this 40-minute race. Lights on the car, of course, as they go through the tunnel. RDO driving around in 9th at the moment, using the medium tyres. It's not, this strategy not really working out for RDO. The only way he can hope to recover this one is to use the softs at the end of the race. It's not looking good, unfortunately, for the only Aston Martin in the field. Olive ahead of El Troca and Blue Mosquito at the back of the field. But Mackey's is now stretching that lead. Now that he's got past Sick Boy, he is really stretching out. And Mackey's 1.8 seconds ahead of Sick Boy, who has got those medium tyres on the rear of the car. Let's see, though, if Sick Boy is able to come forward later in this stint. But right now, the gap has opened up. Moosh is not fully letting Iggy get away here, and being within a second through these high-speed sections of the racetrack should mean he'll still get a small, distant tow. Let's see if he can do it for us and make this one interesting for the Mustang team versus the Dodge team here. Although Moosh was abusing those curbs across turn 5. Something chronic. Excuse me. Joe Royal very much on his own, on their own, unfortunately, at the moment, in 5th place, 3 seconds in front of 6th, 4 seconds behind 4th. Here comes Nobles. We've got Pornish Town has been passed by BR4 now. So BR4 trying to get back on terms with this race. Plenty of time left to go, some half an hour really left to go in this race. And let's see if BR4 can make the difference over the long haul. His pace, with just that one bad lap that forced a spin and contact with the barrier, his pace has been very strong, down into the 27 zeros here. Sick Boy a 26.1, but he's on different tyres. Let's compare that with the likes of his championship rival Iggy and Moosh. Iggy has not run a 27.0 yet, but maybe pacing his tyres, although there's precious little point on hard tyres, so I'm not sure whether BR4 might have better ultimate pace here than Iggy. Just needs to eliminate those braking errors that have been characteristic of the lead Mustang this year. Moosh a lot, leaning on the brakes though through turn 5 once again, trying to get this long wheelbase car turned neatly and tightly around this difficult first sector of the racetrack. Really is a beautiful place to go racing with some very nicely lit cars. That could spell the end of Mooshi tailgating Iggy, because he's got a 1.5 second penalty on the car. You'll see just how much that slows the car now as he's about to go through that penalty section on the way out of this tunnel. There it is, as his throttle is killed. Now he can pick it back up again, but unfortunately that opens his gap out to over 3 seconds to Iggy, and it's Mackey's from Sick Boy still just over a second now. Sick Boy picking up the pace slightly as Mackey's tyres are dying off, and Mackey's also getting to about 1/2 a tank left of fuel. We are into minute 13, we are into lap 10 of the race, and Mackey's continues to lead from Sick Boy on these softer tyre options from the rest of the field. We've got Iggy in 3rd ahead of Moosh, and Joe Royal in 4th and 5th. Next comes BR4, having now passed Nobles, and BR4 back on the fight back. His laps a little bit erratic though. He's had a 27.0, but they're back into the high 27s once again, getting past that those couple of battles. I won't call them traffic, that would be unkind, as Nobles is trying to stay on the pace of what has been the fastest Mustang in the season. Maybe not the most consistent tonight so far. Back here we've got in the battle for 9th, Olive leading El Troca. Olive in the chrome and blue KFC liveried Z4 rather than the chrome and green KFC liveried Z4 of Mackey's up the road. El Troca will drop back considerably. Will that bring RDO into the battle, I wonder, as El Troca slows, the Lexus slows down. In fact, both RDO and Blue Mosquito get, well, they almost get past. Blue Mosquito rubs bodywork with El Troca, who is keen to not might slip another place back. Still no pit stops on the race so far as Mackey's holds on to those tyres, but I think his gap is dropping. Here comes Blue Mosquito on El Troca, the Lexus versus the Genesis, and not much to speak of in terms of top speed over the race, but they're doing battle and actually struggling to stay on terms with RDO, despite RDO's very poor top speed on the Aston Martin. Sick Boy getting within a second now of the lead, as Mackey's tyres are very, very past their best. Mackey's in the Z4 also been spending an awful lot of fuel, not doing a lot of fuel saving here relative to Sick Boy, who still has just over half a tank left of fuel. Iggy in third place, 3.6 seconds off the lead, still on the hard tyres. Look to be barely used, those hard tyres. We could do with the hards being a little bit, maybe tyre wear being a little bit accelerated. I think there may be some changes to the fuel and tyre wear rates coming in the next season. Do stay tuned, you'll be the first to hear anything. Of course, if you've subscribed to the channel and followed us on socials, Aero League Racing and myself at Weber Red 5. But here comes Sick Boy then, still just under a second away from the lead of the race as they power through the first sector. Very, very tight racing. I don't know if anybody's driving with cockpit view, but it's going to be hard behind the windscreen and the helmet visor to cope with these changes in light conditions as you go under the tree shadows in this Swiss mountain region, and through the tunnels and back out again. So these the bridge supports there play havoc with anybody who might be migraine sensitive. 0.2 of a second now is the battle, is the gap between the top two. Sick Boy should have better braking performance if he's rear brake bias committed, but he doesn't go for a move there. He might be preferring a slipstream all the way down to the start-finish straight, unless Mackey's is going into the pits. Mackey's does peel off into the pits, so Sick Boy takes the lead as Mackey's heads into the pits now, having used those softs to their almost destruction. It is Sick Boy from Iggy, the de facto leader on the hard tyres from Moosh, then Joe Royal in fourth place currently, BR4 in fifth. Pornish Town and Nobbles continue to fight. Let's stick with those two guys because they are fighting hammer and tong here. Down into turn one they go. Pornish Town closes off the apex from Nobbles, as he has the right to do with the overlap, and the Hyundai getting very, very nicely through turn one. Good grip, good traction on the Hyundai versus the AMG Mercedes at this stage of the race, but the cars are dropping the fuel now. The lap times likely to be getting quicker, although that time round Nobbles not so good. A deleted time on lap 13 as well. Pornish Town has really picked up the pace lately, and BR4 has had a couple of 27.2s and a couple of 27.5s, very much on the pace now. BR4 trying to regain that difference that he suffered into turn one, and we caught on screen while his teammate was right behind him on track. It's a personal best now for Pornish Town, just underlining the fact that the cars are dropping fuel. And they head down towards the big stop at turn 14, the hairpin. Away goes Pornish Town, neat and tidy. Good driving so far from the Hyundai driver. Doesn't have his teammate with him tonight, unfortunately. Yes, he does. Blue Mosquito. I get confused between the fact that it's a Hyundai Genesis and the Genesis manufacturer. But yeah, he's very much has got the blue, the very blue Mosquito with him tonight. It is Nobbles right behind him in this battle for 6th place. We have another battle on the track as well. That's Blue Mosquito versus El Troca, though it's extended out to 1.2 seconds as we look. RDO still on the medium tyres. Might be trying to make this into a one-stopping medium soft strategy, but it's not working out at the moment. He's 27 seconds off the lead, and Mackey's, having been first to stop, is at the rear of the field on medium tyres. He is going to try a soft medium strategy, so if Mackey's can do it, you would think potentially RDO can do it in reverse with a lighter car on the soft tyres. Let's wait and see. We're 20 minutes deep. We are halfway through. That's 14 laps, so we should be looking at a 28 lap race, I would have thought. And leading the race currently is Sick Boy. He is not heading to the pits at the moment, despite the fact that his fronts are well worn, getting over halfway worn, despite the fact that this is a anti-clockwise circuit. It seems to be the front right that is suffering more than the front left on Sick Boy's car, and Iggy is getting very, very close here in the lead position of the race. Sick Boy trying to hold on here. He slipped down to just under half a second ahead of Iggy. Surely it's a matter of time now. When does Sick Boy decide that enough is enough? I don't think he's going to get through deep enough into this race to run the soft tyres to the end. Although, having said that, Mackey's did just run the softs 20 minutes, so maybe it's quite possible for Sick Boy. Down they go then. With Iggy down the inside, takes the position. Candy from a baby is the way it goes for Iggy, taking that place from Sick Boy. Takes the lead of the race. Sick Boy, does he decide now is the time to pit, or a handy dose of slipstream is the way to go? I think the slipstream is his choice. He takes to the outside as Iggy gives him the outside only, takes the inside line, and Sick Boy on the grippier side of the circuit, but there goes Iggy on the inside. Delays his turn in to affect the rhythm of Sick Boy. That is racecraft 101 from Iggy, showing Sick Boy the way through. Moosh is still well within reach of this, only 2.5 seconds off Iggy's time currently, and having a good showing here in the Mustang. This seems to be a strong circuit, at least for the latter two sectors of the racetrack for the Mustang. I fancy it's not amazing through the first sector, but of course 2 sectors of the racetrack will be the majority of the racetrack. It's Joe then in 4th place, some 8 tenths ahead of BR4. Joe has barely used those hard tyres, as has BR4. They can run these tanks dry and then absolutely blast past. Oh, it looks like Moosh has had an issue on the way out of turn 10, and that was the yellow flag. Moosh has had a mini excursion from the racing line. He's been passed by Joe and BR4 now, so Mustang running 4th and 5th. Unfortunately, now we've got Pornishtown and Nobbles 6th and 7th, Olive and Blue Mosquito some distance apart from one another. El Troca not quite bringing up the rear, because that is still with Mackey's on the medium tyre. Mackey's bringing those mediums in very gently. He's 27 seconds off the lead currently, Mackey's. So let's see what happens when the rest of the drivers pit. I don't think Iggy will get out in front of Mackey's, but he will have soft tyres for the end of the race and have to stop for a lot less time, just putting the fuel in. So here comes Iggy then. 24 seconds first sector, showing pretty well. His fastest time so far, 27.1, not as fast as BR4's time, certainly not as fast as Sick Boy on the soft tyres at the start of this race. Sick Boy running out of tyres though, has dropped 2.5 seconds away from Iggy, and out of the slipstream, off the track on the way out of turn 10. That seems to be a almost legitimate line now for our drivers through the racetrack, and there goes Sick Boy, performing very well indeed as the trackside photographer makes sure he gets plenty of real shot for his magazine prints tomorrow. BR4 hounding Joe Royle now. I'm expecting to see potentially the Mercedes coming into the pits now with just over 15 minutes to run on this racetrack. Lap 7, there goes Sick Boy into the pits with 24% fuel, but having spent a lot of his tyre wear, unable to hang on to them. But now BR4 on hard tyres, a genuine pass for position down to the inside. Joe Royle gives up the inside line, and BR4, can he get it stopped this time? He's certainly far enough ahead to not have to take too many risks as he did before. He'll be frightened of those exit barriers at turn 1, but he's got the job done. And BR4 into P2 now on lap 18, and a good overtake from him. 7.8 seconds he is away from Iggy. Let's watch that gap and see if it drops, as he puts in a PB as well, first sector with that slipstream. So BR4 on the chase back for the best result possible. It is the Austrian driver Iggy versus our Swedish BR4, and then the vast majority of the field are British as well. So that's just the way it works here in ALR. Joe Royle having a bit of a look on the back here of BR4. We'll try to use the slipstream. BR4's Mustang should be strong in a straight line. Yeah, he's got 1 or 2 miles an hour faster. Apologies for our European brothers who use the KPH, but I'm afraid as a Brit I have selected MPH. Yeah, unfortunately that is just the way I've set it up. I'll take a vote as to whether you think it's a good idea. Iggy pits. Interestingly, Iggy pits from the hard tyre. So he's decided that now is a good time to run the mediums or the softs to the end of this race. I should have a check-in. Actually, Pornish Town has gone for the same strategy. I don't know if he had that lap 19 planned, or he decided to just do whatever Iggy did, which is not a bad strategy, quite frankly. RDO on new soft tyres with half a tank of fuel now for the remainder of the race. RDO in 12th, Olive in 11th. We've got Nobles having pitted as well. Everyone has pitted out of the way of Iggy, who is on soft tyres to the end of this race. He's gone for just over half a tank of fuel. So it looks to be now is the time to pit for everybody. Medium tyres, remember, on Mackey's, who started on the softs. He needs to be careful. He's still got track position over Iggy. 4.7 seconds is Mackey's gap to Iggy. Iggy doesn't need to win this race, but to maintain his championship potential, just take it easy. Don't take too many risks. Sick Boy on soft tyres is ahead of both of them, though 17 seconds off the lead with under half a tank of fuel. I hope Sick Boy has enough in the tank to get him to the end of this race, but having still yet to pit on the hard tyres. Moosh in 3rd, surely on his way into the pits now with the fuel light flashing. BR4 is in the pits ahead of him, so it's Mustang both pitting on the same lap with 2% fuel to go. Joe goes for another lap though, maybe 1 lap too many on the hard tyres, but he will be able to absolutely thrash this car around the circuit compared to the others in the remaining 7, 8 or 9 laps of this race. At least we can say 11 minutes, shall we? El Trocker's gone from the session, it seems, unfortunately. So I don't know if he's had a connection problem. It is Joe Royle from Sick Boy. 15 seconds currently is the gap, but Sick Boy, remember, the de facto leader, having pitted, but light on fuel, much lighter on fuel than the rest of the drivers. Maybe that will equalise between Sick Boy and Mackey's by the end of this race, but it's definitely going to be something to keep an eye on, and Sick Boy will be watching that dial very, very carefully. You can see the gap on the circuit is 3 seconds between Sick Boy and Mackey's. It's 2.5 between Mackey's and Iggy, and it's 7.9 between Mackey's between Iggy and Moosh. Moosh has successfully undercut his teammate. Moosh on soft tyres now. He's got to be careful on those tyres. He seems to be ragging them quite hard, but he's dropped that gap to 8.2 seconds now to Iggy. So BR4 in P4 at the moment. You fancy Joe Royal is going past the pits once again. He's picked up a half-second penalty. That could be the sign he needs to head on into the pits, but half a second isn't going to affect him very much. He's still 13.5 seconds ahead of this group. He'll be hoping for a good gap to drop into, potentially dropping back into P5, I fancy, for Joe, or P6 maybe, once he has pitted. Of course, he has to stay stationary for less time because he has less fuel left to put in the car. So the better fuel economy in the Lexus really is proving itself to be valuable for Joe and their overall race time, which is what it's all about. Lights to flag in the quickest possible time. Dust kicked up from Sick Boy once again, who is stretching his lead from Mackey's. Mackey's has got mirrors full of Iggy though, and will Mackey's give up the place? That was a little bit of formation flying from the Z4 team. Sorry, it wasn't from the Z4 team. That was Mackey's passing for position, but Iggy passing for position. Get it right, but making it fairly easy, giving up the inside for Iggy. Mackey's trying to get the slipstream, looking at this for the best opportunity, but Iggy appears to have the better top speed, better braking capability as well, and gets the car down. Medium tyres on Mackey's will last much better towards the end of this race, but Iggy does have more fuel on the board in the tanks as well. There goes Joe into the pits. That means Sick Boy is now the leader of the race once again, 5.6 seconds clear of Iggy, who is himself 0.9 of a second away from Mackey's. Where does Joe feed out of the pits? We've got Joe P5 currently coming on out of the pits. Let's see, can they get ahead of Moosh? It looks to be just fine. Soft tyres, just over 1/4 of a tank of fuel, should see Joe to the end with just 6 or 7 laps to go. It is Sick Boy, Iggy, Mackey's, BR4, Joe. Then we go back to Moosh, and a long way back then, Pornish Town still battling with Nobbles, 30 seconds off the lead of the race. Olive some 38 seconds away on his own, and then we've got RDO in 10th, Blue Mosquito in 11th, chasing down at the rear of the field. But I think the majority of the battling is now going to be, I would say, between Pornage and Nobbles just behind him. So Pornish Town in the Hyundai Genesis from the Mercedes AMG of Nobbles. Pornish Town in the default liveried Hyundai, and Nobbles in the beautiful orange and black AMG Mercedes. Personal best there for Nobbles. Nicely done. Big gaps on the rest of the field, really, apart from this one and the battle for the final position on the racetrack. P11 will drive round, I'm sure, to get points at the end of this one, because points will be paid down there, so you can be sure it's always worth finishing a race, even if you're just giving yourself information about your focus powers and strategy. But Nobbles trying to get a sniff down the inside of the Genesis, but they're very closely matched for top speed down these high-speed sections. Going to have to try and put the pressure on and force a mistake here from Pornish Town, which may well be a difficult ask. Down in the tail of the field, we've got a battle brewing, a three-way battle brewing for 9th place. Olive leads, RDO leads, Blue Mosquito. That should be entertaining at the rear of the field. So we've got, what is it, Olive on softs, RDO on softs, and Blue Mosquito at the rear of the field, but on medium tyres, so might well get these drivers towards the end of our race. Let's see if Nobbles can find a way past at the moment. No way through just yet. The order's still Sick Boy, Iggy and Mackey's at the front of the field, with what I think will be 5 or 6 laps to go, certainly 6 minutes. Nobbles goes for the move down into the hairpin, but very, very patiently paced there from Pornish Town, who just looks like Mr. Smart, and he takes the outside-inside line, switch back
just patiently allows Nobbles to outbrake himself and carries on regardless. 3/10 the gap then between these two. Not enough to have a sniff down the inside for Nobbles, who's much more shy to send it this time after outbraking himself through there. It's Dusty out on the grasscrete through the exit of turn 1. And let's see, we've got a nice three-way battle here. Olive gives it the outside to RDO. RDO takes the place, it looks like, on the soft tyres. Gets the car nicely down into the apex. So RDO up to 9th. Blue Mosquito fighting hard to lose the wooden spoon out of the awards for tonight. Blue Mosquito in 11th. Didn't take part in our sprint race, unfortunately, which sadly the footage has been lost, all but the last few seconds. But Blue Mosquito will keep an eye on that gap. Let's just check in with the leader as he crosses the line. Start lap 25. It's Sick Boy 2.1 seconds from the championship leader Iggy in second place. Sick Boy, I don't know. I don't know he's got enough fuel on the car. He's going to have to really lift and coast like Quanic, but it's a difficult ask around this circuit. It's BR4 fighting with Mackies then for third place, and this is closed up as well. So a really exciting last 3 or 4 laps to go on our race for the lead positions here. This is for the final podium position. BR4, he was hoping for a lot more tonight, I'm sure, hoping to try and take Iggy to the final race or the final meet of the season. I don't know that he's going to still be in contention at the end of this one. Iggy has been outscoring BR4 tonight, and BR4 has had some amazing pace. He's got the fastest lap on the racetrack, a 1:25.1, just lacking on consistency. Some 1.4 seconds between his fastest and the last lap he completed. Trying to get away here from Mackies, and has done so nicely. Mackies medium tyre Z4 not performing quite as well as he'd hoped, as Joe Royal now comes right up the gearbox of Mackies, trying to use the slipstream. We know that Joe Royal gives up nothing on top speed to anybody, and has tremendous fuel consumption advantages. He's quite low on fuel though. The risk that he's under-fueled. Is lap 26 of what I believe will be 28 laps as Joe goes around the outside. Mackies gives him the outside, doesn't push it too far, but Joe stuck on the marbles. Mackies with a decisive swipe to the outside there. Joe trying to get around the inside, and that's a cheeky move. Not seen that one done yet tonight. Joe Royal elbows out, but gives as good as he got, and Joe takes P4. I think he's actually going to be I think Joe is going to be fair enough there to let Mackies through. Look, he's slowing considerably here to allow Mackies past. He's given up the place to Moosh. That is one of the most sporting displays I have seen in a long while. That's given up 2 positions after gaining 1 from Joe. Could have let the stewards sort that one out later, because as far as I could see, Mackies was semi-rude through the exit of turn 1, but he doesn't want to score points that way, Joe. Here comes Iggy then, now on the battle for the lead. Sick Boy running very, very low on fuel. He's actually hit the limiter on the fuel. The light is flashing. We go to start lap 27 now, and Sick Boy will be begging Iggy to slow down. Iggy takes the lead then on the well, I think final lap, but Iggy could push this. He could force this and make Sick Boy run an extra lap. I think Iggy might well try that. So it could be the penultimate lap that Iggy has taken the lead, only to make Sick Boy drives even slower and punish him. This could be very decisive for the championship. Iggy outscoring BR4 in the previous rounds, and Sick Boy having won the feature. But Iggy could really do the dirty here to Sick Boy. I think Iggy can get round in time to start an extra lap. He's pushing. He knows Sick Boy is slowing. What does Iggy decide to do? Because if Sick Boy's forced to do another lap, he'll have to stop or pit again. or run in low fuel mode, I guess. But here comes Iggy then down to the final stop of the racetrack. We are 30 seconds away from the checkered flag, so looks like Iggy is going to do it to Sick Boy. Sick Boy, what does he do here? Is he going to have to pit for a splash and dash? Sick Boy, there's no real option. Lights flashing. He must be down to 2 or 3% fuel. Iggy's going to cross the line, and there will be 29 laps in this race. So by the margin, there goes Sick Boy stopping on the line, waiting for the seconds to tick by. This is not great. There goes BR4 who crosses the line. Sick Boy, well, BR4 managed to save it, and it appears to have got second on the road. I'm not sure how happy I am about that becoming the standings, but it's Joe from Mackey's from Bornage Town, and just edges Nobbles there. This is the really weird thing here about Gran Turismo, that these guys can secure their position by running a lap less. It's it looks to be Olive towards the line here. Olive with Ardio going wide through the final corner. It's Olive to the line. Olive will just be edged out by Ardio on the line. It's Ardio 9th, Olive 10th, Blue Mosquito in 11th on the medium tyres. Didn't really get to use those medium tyres at the end. And Iggy on a victory lap. Almost done now. Iggy coming round, and what a bizarre situation we're going to have here is that the last person to take the checkered flag is going to be the winner in the Dodge Viper. This, well, could be the crowning of a new champion from Iggy. I will obviously wait for confirmation from everybody. But let's see what happens. Iggy wins our feature race here tonight and takes all the points available. Tremendous work from Iggy. Let's see what happens with the standings. I know that RDO will be furiously, calculator in hand, sparks flying. He finished the race early, so hopefully he can get us there, get us somewhere towards it. It is Sick Boy who had to give up P2 in the end to BR4 with low fuel. BR4 said he lost 10 seconds when his eye was itchy. That's a new one on me. I've heard a lot of excuses in my time as a commentator, but itchy eyes, definitely a new one for me. Let's see if I can't get a quick update on the championship standings from RDO before we call it a day today. Iggy would need to be 40 points clear of second place in order to secure the title. He started the feature race 20 points clear. He finishes the feature race only 22 points clear, so it will go to the final race of the season, the final meet of the season. It will we will see Iggy, your winner tonight and championship leader, on provisional standings here, 242 against BR4's 220. Some further 10 points ahead of Sick Boy. So it's those three who will be in contention for the title next week. Hope you get to join us on Tuesday night. Hope you've subscribed to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss us live. This has been Aero League Racing's Monday Tier 1, the best drivers in GT racing on Aero League Racing's league. And this has been Webbo on the mic. Hope you've enjoyed it tonight, and from me and everyone involved, we will catch you on the next race day.